Time now for my exclusive interview with Meghan's sister Samantha Markle, the one woman who can best explain the latest Montecito make-believe. Now, the Sussexes' exaggerated story of their New York car chase saw Harry draw, I think, shameless parallels to his mother's fatal car crash back in 1997. Unsurprisingly, the tastist comparison sparked anger from those who were close to Princess Diana, including her former butler and close friend Paul Burrell. This was his emotional reaction on last night's show.
With totally different circumstances, Diana was actually avoiding the press the night she died. Meghan and Harry were courting the press on the night that they had their car chase in Manhattan. I think this is complete fabrication. It's a complete story that they are willing to spin, a PR exercise to say, hey, look at us, we're vulnerable, we are in danger, and when we come to England, we need security.
Sussex lapdog Omid Scobie also jumped on Diana's grave with this odious interview on the BBC.
Impossible not to think of Princess Diana when we hear about car accidents and this kind of like aggressive paparazzi chase. And so I was really surprised to hear from sources that not one member of the royal family, including King Charles and Prince William, who are obviously heavily affected by Princess Diana's death, had not reached out to Prince Harry hours after this news had broken. You know, it was on the sort of on every single headline around the world. And sadly, that kind of shows the state of disrepair that relationship is.
Well, I'm joined live now from Florida by someone who knows all too well how Meghan and her cronies can twist the truth, her sister, Samantha Markle. And Samantha, look, I've been thinking about you the past 24 hours because I always believed you, by the way, when you warned the world that your sister was a compulsive liar and was known for twisting the truth. But she's pushed it too far this time, hasn't she, Sam? Because actually now even some of the liberal media, even some of your American left-wing media like the New York Times and CNN who love your sister are having to say, hang on a moment, this didn't happen.
Well, exactly. And I think you're in trouble when someone like Whoopi Goldberg, quote, opens up a can of whoop ass. I mean, Whoopi Goldberg came out and said she wasn't buying it. Anyone who has been in New York City knows that, yeah, it can take 2 hours to get from one side of New York to the other because traffic doesn't move. So it's not a 2-hour chase. According to sources on the ground, there was no car on its side. There was no ensuing chase. There was no panic. And the few, quote, paparazzi who were able to photograph the inside of the vehicle, seemingly when they stopped, caught them on their phones. One of them was sleeping. One of them was smiling. So, I got to say that really doesn't ring panic and near catastrophic accident to me. I was like, where did they get that it's near catastrophic? First of all, there was no impact. So how is it near catastrophic? Because your imagination says so. And I guess for some, getting out of bed can be catastrophic because you never know what's going to happen by the end of the day. So it all just seems so dramatic and far-fetched. And I am really glad that you brought this up because, first of all, they reportedly had a police car behind them.
Yeah.
They had security with them. They were perfectly protected. And so they should understand, and apparently they do. They do think that paparazzi can be aggressive. So on those grounds, I was questioning years ago when I was in tabloid articles allegedly staging a car accident. So first of all, I made the mistake of telling TMZ that I was in an accident because paparazzi came up to the side of my vehicle. They swiped the side of the vehicle, not making impact, but my boyfriend swerved to avoid them hitting us and slammed on the brakes. So they skipped off into the sunset, but I went flying under the dashboard. And so it's terrifying for someone like me. I don't have security. I don't have police cars following me. I flew under the dashboard, my body, because I'm disabled. I don't have the strength to brace a fall. So a toll booth supervisor directed us to the regional hospital so that I could get treated, and she helped my boyfriend pick me up off of the floor. Yet tabloids, rather than look at the fact that I never said there was a car accident, I never said there was impact. Some overly zealous detective and tabloids said, oh, Samantha must have staged a car accident because there's no evidence of impact. Well, you turn-ups, I never said there was impact. I said I was in an accident. So long story short, if they think it's scary for them with security detail, with cops following them, even though nothing happened, and cops on the ground and taxi drivers said that it was really much ado about nothing. There was no ensuing chase, right? There was no catastrophic risk there, seemingly. How would it be for someone like me in a wheelchair who's not a celebrity with all of that to be thrown forward and to seriously be injured? No, it was terrifying as hell. So I've got to say to them, you know what? Back off. You've had control of the media. You pay for paparazzi. You pay for publications and for PR. Don't act like you are the victim here.
So Sam, can I just clarify? Do you believe that they have in the past actually set up photo shoots? Because, of course, that's what they said that your dad did, and as a result, they should cut all contact with him. So if they had done the same thing, that would be so hypocritical, Sam.
Well, in my opinion, I believe that was set up, too, on the grounds that she had reportedly, and I saw the photographs, photographed with him with Jeff Rayner before the wedding, and then also after she moved to Montecito. So if she was so distraught because paparazzi ruined her wedding, she wouldn't have photographed with him afterwards, and there were still his credits under her photos kind of on continuum. And then we saw the Cemetery of Fallen Heroes, and we heard the stories of her calling paparazzi to meet her there, a fashion photographer. So we know that there is an inside link to paparazzi at their disposal. We know that they can afford it, and we know that that's what PR does. But normal people like me don't have that luxury. And so maybe Harry and Meghan now can empathize at the fact that fake news media destroyed me over that. And I was seriously injured as a woman in a wheelchair. I have the receipts to prove it. So, it's kind of crazy that I have to defend myself over something like that. When
Sam, can
I
ask?
They should be able to understand and empathize about what really happened to me. When
of course, but we know they don't seem
to
to have any empathy towards the Markle family. We know that, and that's been so horrific over the past couple of years. Sam, can I ask you how you feel about the comparisons with Princess Diana? Because increasingly it feels as if Harry, and maybe Meghan to a lesser extent, want to compare your sister to Diana. Now, there have been lots of rumours about the fact that Meghan was a little bit obsessed with Diana growing up, and that maybe she had some sort of idea about the Princess of Wales, even though obviously she has publicly said, I didn't know anything about the royals. What's your understanding about that, Sam? Do you think Meghan was aware of Princess Diana?
Oh, my goodness. From the stories of wearing Diana's perfume on their first date to, being seen in photographs mimicking her every move, to reportedly even in Spare channeling Diana and putting her hands on stones. I think, there seems to be an obsession. Let's not forget the Lifetime drama, Escaping the Palace, wherein at the end of the drama, she is depicted dying similarly to how Diana did. Now, if that's not a little bit eerie and that's not a little bit obsessed, please tell me what is, because I think all along there have been indicators, comments, remarks, complaints, reaching out to invoke the death of Diana tragically, sadly. I mean, what about rest in peace? This poor woman, Princess Diana, is being invoked for convenience, seemingly, every time Harry and Meghan either don't get their way or they want a PR opportunity. And this is my opinion. But I think so many around the world have observed this, and I think it's really frustrating on the grounds that Harry is not a child. He is seemingly arrested in his state of development and suffers from an Oedipus complex, I have to say. He's never let go and moved on beyond his mother. And that's not a horrible thing, but it doesn't seem like he got adequate counseling enough to deal with the loss of his mother. And if he ever read Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's, On Death and Dying, he would have found a way with adequate counseling to reach acceptance.
I know,
but
which you've got to do.
This repeated groveling about it and invoking her suggests that he hasn't.
Well, no, indeed.
Yes.
But your sister seems to almost be encouraging him to build that obsession. So I just wonder, you obviously knew her when she was younger. She was pictured outside Buckingham Palace. Do you buy her argument that she knew nothing about the royals, that she knew nothing about Princess Diana?
I do not, on the grounds that she was there at Buckingham. And we also heard by her own report that she allegedly, and there are interviews out there that point this out, she allegedly knew Eugenie before she met Harry. So we're seeing inconsistencies that suggest she probably met Harry and didn't let on, in my opinion, how much she knew about the royal family.
And Sam, is the tide turning now in the US? Is the tide turning? Because look, I've been watching a lot of the American coverage. They try to defend Harry and Meghan. They try and make excuses for, I'm not going to hold back on this, Sam. They try and make excuses for their lies. But actually, when you've got the New York Times and CNN now starting to question your version of events, and that's the liberal media right there, do you think the tide is turning on Harry and Meghan in America now?
I think conservative publications and media see the big picture. They're truth sayers, they're in search of the truth. And they can put the evidence on the scale and compare and contrast. But what we're seeing now with the woke liberal media, especially, I will say CNN, to be out there saying that this was catastrophic and traumatic, oh my God, in absence of any evidence of that, in absence of any injury, and when you have NYPD officers and a taxi cab driver on the ground saying, it was kind of much ado about nothing. There was no ensuing accident. There was no fear. And you see them inside the vehicle on their phones, one of them sleeping. There's no panic. So where's the near catastrophe? Was there makeup melting? What was the catastrophe? You tell me. I mean, I was like,
no, Sam,
seriously.
I know. Look, I'm with you. I'm with you. I saw this yesterday. I was immediately skeptical. I did what, unfortunately, very few journalists do, Sam. Look at the facts. Actually question what the Sussexes do now, because I hate to say it, Sam, but you were right on this right from the start. Your sister is, unfortunately, a porky pie merchant. She doesn't tell the truth. And you warned the world, Sam Markle.
Again, I have to say in the beginning of all this, because of what happened to me, I wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt because I know how fake news media can be. So I thought, okay, maybe there was a heated paparazzi.
But it wasn't.
Let's see what evidence comes out. The difference is they control the media. They have direct links to Pops.
They do. And we saw that over the past day. But look, Sam Markle, thank you as ever. So good to speak to you, Sam.